Welcome to Wednesdays with EWAT. Hello everyone, this is Shanti Kumaraswamy Street calling from London. It is 3 p.m. on January the 31st. I am zooming in from London into your screen wherever you are and to say hi and hope everyone's well. Hello Keiko, hello Rosie. Lovely as you come in, do say hello so that I know you're with me, and it'd be great. So how are you all? Can you believe it? It's the end of January already. So do zoom in and tell me. I'm just going to put us up on the screen so I can see all of you and I can follow your thoughts and what you're going to say. Evelyn, hello from London to Lima. Hello Lima, Peru. How are you? Lovely to see you. And I'm so glad for anyone who's new to English with a Twist. This is the place to be if you're looking to improve your business English with confidence, to become an effective, confident communicator in business with English. And this is where I, as your coach, help you gain that confidence, gain that feeling of equality that is so important if you are to succeed in business with English. That's great, Evelyn. I'm so glad you're well. So let me just see. I'm going to open up my Facebook page so I can see. Oh, Rosie's saying, thank God January's over. Why? What happened in January, Rosie? Do tell me. Wasn't January good? Are you one of those people who finds January, you suffer from the January blues when, things are just dark. We've come up from Christmas and, it all just feels a bit, trying to get motivated and enthusiastic to start the new year, and January being a darker month, it might be a bit tougher. May, hello, lovely to see you too. Just one second, everyone. I think I'm going to have to turn up. Although it's a bit, it's sunny outside, just feels a bit dark in here. So do let me know if you can see me, if I'm not too much in the dark. Cold, dark and damp. That's what you're saying, Rosie. Yeah, January, especially when Europe, in the northern hemisphere than it is. Hi Gabi, lovely to see you. Now, what lesson are we at? Can anyone remind me? Because I've suddenly got a moment where I've just completely forgotten where we are, what lesson we're at. I'm just looking up here. Lesson 53. Fantastic. Am I the light? May, oh gosh, that sounds very I'm shining. Oh dear, is that it? Is it my nose that's shining? Should I put some makeup on? I'm only kidding, May. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. All right, what are we going to be looking at today? I've been very busy in the last 2 weeks. I've got at the moment as we speak, I have a lovely Czech client, someone from the Czech Republic who's been with me here on a full immersion course where she lives with us and I'm teaching her on an intensive course. So it's been a pretty busy week and a half with full-on sessions, intensive course in the morning, followed by working with everything else that I do for the business. So it's been pretty busy. But good busy. As I always say to my husband when he says to me, oh, I've been so busy today, I always like to ask whether it's a good busy or that bad busy, where you're just busy but nothing is getting done, or you don't have that sense of achievement at the end. Javier, hello, you're from India. I believe you're new to English with a Twist. Welcome. Now, for everyone who knows me, and if you're not subscribed to my community, the EWAT community, I will remind you again, do join, because this community is growing ever more each week and I'm really delighted with that. And if you haven't done it, please do join at englishwithatwist.com. If not, thank you so much to all my regulars. We're at the end of January, as I just said. Some people have had a good January. Has it been a good January for you? Some are very happy, like Rosie, that January is over. Now we can look forward to February. Now, you remember at the beginning of this month, I had said to you that I've got a different format now for all the content I share with you, whether it's through my weekly lessons, whether it's through Wednesdays with EWAT, and it is to have themes. And last month was small talk, and we covered a lot of different aspects on small talk. And this month, I'm going to look at goal setting. I want to help you as your coach to look at how you set your goals to improve your business English communication. You know how, but not just for business English, but in your own lives. How do we set our goals, and how do we stay focused? How do we stay on track? How do we maintain that motivation, which is so hard in every aspect of our lives? You know, so often it gets really busy. You set up with an idea that you're going to achieve something, and then something, you know, happens along the way, and then you lose focus, and it becomes really hard to pick that focus back up and start or continue. So I think the end of January is a perfect time. The end of a month is always a perfect time to put some time aside to reflect on the previous month, to see about what you did, what went well, what didn't work so well, how you could improve, and what are your plans for the following month. So as I was thinking about the next theme for the following month, I thought this is something I very much believe in, and this is the focus of English with a Twist, is I want to give you that focus to help you stay motivated, to stay on track, to stay very much focused on your goals, whether it is to do with improving your business English or improving your business skills at work. And it's such a huge part of becoming a better professional. And, you know, I do a lot of this with my coaching clients, and I want to share this now with more of you through Wednesdays with EWAT and also through the blog posts. So you'll be seeing a lot more of this sort of theme. So we're going to be looking at goal setting, staying motivated, staying focused, accountability. And so why I thought of January, because I want to ask you a question. How many of you started the start of 2018 with New Year resolutions? Please share with me in the chat box. Oh, Pushpa, you're 13 years old. You're super young for this sessions. Are you sure you're in the right place? Because we're talking business English. So this is for business professionals who are at work. You may just be a bit too young for my sessions, but you're more than welcome to stay, of course. But I wonder whether this necessarily will be of value to you. But let's see. Okay, so my fellow EWATers, how many of you started 2018 with some New Year resolutions? And if you did start with New Year resolutions, what were they? Would you like to share with me? You know, quite often the typical New Year resolutions after the Christmas period, maybe you would decide, I'm going to get fit. You know, I really need to get healthy. Perhaps you overindulged over Christmas and you then set that New Year's resolution, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to cut out cheese, or I'm going to cut out chocolate, or if you drink alcohol, I'm going to cut out alcohol because I want to lose weight, I want to get healthy. So did any of you have New Year resolutions that you set yourself when 1st of January arrived? Please share with me. I'd love to know. And if you do have, you know, if you do have any New Year's resolutions, what were they? Do share. Rosie said you started the the new year, you started 2018 weighing 2 more kilos than before because of your Christmas diets. Okay, I think there was the wonderful Christmas fair. Yes, all the lovely food, and of course we start. So did you set a New Year's resolution? Did you have one? And if we're now the 31st of January, how have your New Year resolutions gone? Are you still with them, or have you forgotten them? Have you given them up? Because a lot of people, by about this time, they decide to give up. Keiko, you're saying to read books as much as I can and never let the day idle away. So you're not going to waste a single day. You're going to read as many books as you can. Fantastic. Keiko, how's it going? Are you achieving them? How's it going with that resolution? Fantastic. Sounds wonderful. Anybody else have some New Year resolutions? So we've come to 31st of January. I'll be keen to know. So, we've set up these resolutions, and a lot of people, either if they're still with their New Year resolution, I salute you. I think you're great. Keep going, do well, and you'll be great. Pushpa, you're saying, yes, I'm trying my best to maintain my health by eating healthy food. Great. Okay, so you have a goal to stay healthy, to eat healthy food. Wonderful. Okay, so now the thing with New Year's resolutions, I don't know about you. One of the reasons why a lot of New Year resolutions that don't always work is the New Year resolutions are always long-term goals, aren't they? Because if you're going to get fit, if you are going to eat healthy food, if you want to read as many books as you want, these are long-term goals. These are goals that are going to, you're going to have time. You're going to need to it's going to need time to achieve that goal. Now, I have clients often who come to me and, they'll say to me, I want to improve my English. I want to become more fluent. And it's a long-term goal because, first I'm thinking, great. That's a long-term goal because where's that going to end? What does fluency mean? What does improving my business English mean? What does that mean? To read as many books as I can. How many? Have you set yourself a goal of how many books you want to read, for example, this year? Cornelia, you said, my students do that too. We put them all in a jar. Then at the end of 2018, you mean, we'll check them up. Great. And what is yours, Cornelia? Mine is to lose weight. Cornelia, thank you. Anyway, you rock. I follow you as often as I can. Thank you so much, Cornelia. That's really good. It's the first time I hear from you, actually, so welcome. Yours is to lose weight. Okay, fantastic. Have you set a goal as to how much weight you want to lose, Cornelia? Because here's the thing. I want to lose weight. Wonderful. I want to lose weight. But is that specific enough? Is that telling me, how much weight do you want to lose? Because I have a thing about long-term goals. So many of us set these goals and then we give up halfway through. Maybe it's by the end of January. Maybe it's by the end of February. More often than not, by March, we've given up. Why? Because this is the trouble I find with a lot of our long-term goals. Our long-term goals need time to achieve. For example, you want to lose weight, you want to read as many books, you want to improve your English, you want to improve your business English, whatever you want to do. For example, maybe you want to run a marathon, okay? And maybe you've never run. So now, being able to run a marathon is going to take time. So you've got that long-term goal that you need to achieve. So Cornelia, you say, I always set that goal, but I never succeed in accomplishing it. Have you ever asked yourself, Cornelia, why you haven't achieve that goal. Because this is it. You see, now here's the trouble with long-term goals, in my opinion. We set this goal, which is long-term. But do we actually then work out a plan on how we're actually going to achieve it? Do we do that? So do you then say, okay, I have this goal. This is my end goal for the end of the year. And then do you go back and think, well, now how am I going to do this? In other words, you need to break down that big long-term goal, that big goal, into smaller goals. For example, I will share with you one of my goals for this year. Many of you know that I go running. Well, I go jogging. Let's say I don't go running. Now, I've recently become really focused, motivated, enthusiastic about my running. I have to say it's taken me a few years, right? You know, where it was stop, start, I'd start, and then something would happen, and then I'd give up. But in the last December, I, started going running. And then I thought, well, I'm beginning to enjoy this more and more. It's not as hard as it used to be. So I set my 2018 goal to run by the end of the 2018, I want to have run 1,400 kilometers. That's a lot for me. I've never done that. Now, that's huge. Now, the thing is, that's great. Now, I need to now devise a plan on how I'm going to get to my goal of 1,400 or 1,400 kilometers by the end of 2018. So I broke down what I need to do. We have 52 weeks in a year. 1,400 divided by 52, I know I've got to run about 22 kilometers. No, more than that, 23, 24 kilometers. Okay, you're not going to run 52 weeks, every single week of the year. I worked out if I've got holidays, I'm going to break it down. So I say maybe over 48 weeks. And then I need to work out how many kilometers I have to run each week. And then I think, okay, so that worked out as I want to run 3 times a week. That's all the time I want to give. I don't want to give more. So I set it out and I think, so each run has to be 10 kilometers or more. And so I've broken it down. And so that becomes my short-term goals. My short-term goal is then broken down to every month and then every week. So I now can measure every week what I want to achieve. Can you see how once you've got that long-term goal, you need to break it down? Good. Rosie's asking a very good question. What is the reward you're expecting after all those kilometers? Great. So that's it's a very good question, because of course we set ourselves these goals. How are we going to reward ourselves when we achieve those goals or the end of those kilometers? But it's like everything, isn't it? Why do we set ourselves goals? What do we want to be able to do? For me, for being able to run, I want to prove to myself that I could achieve it. I want to have that feeling of a sense of achievement that I did it. I could do it. It's only for me. I'm not trying to run a marathon, but I want to be able to prove to myself that at the age of 51, and this year I'm going to be 52, that I am able, after 1 year, to say, at this age, I ran 1,400 kilometers. It's only for me. It's a personal goal that I have set myself. But I want to be able to achieve it. But I know that if I don't break it down, it's going to be so much harder for me to maintain it. Why? Why is it so much harder if I just had that 1,400 and then just leave it there? what becomes so hard? If we can't break it down, it is so difficult to be able to focus on those small wins. And here's where I want to share with you. When you read, how often do you read in the news, in your favorite magazine? In today's society, we are so happy to celebrate the big win, the big success, don't we? That person built his business, and now he's earning, I don't know, millions. They have 1 million views on YouTube. They have 1 million subscribers in YouTube. Or that person has achieved, is fluent in English. They're able to give these presentations in English. I wish I could do it. The problem with our society is, we celebrate people who have made successes of their lives. Now, what do we mean by success? We look at it in terms of how much money they've made, how big their house is, how many holidays they go on, how many cars they own. I don't know. I'm sure you can share with me, right? Who is the most successful person that you've heard of? And you look at them, and you look at that person and you think, wow, that is great. How does that make you feel? Because I know how it makes me feel. It makes me feel this tiny. Because you end up comparing yourself to that. And you think, oh, they have this huge big win. They've achieved this huge thing. And look at me. I'm still struggling to, get to what I want to do. You see people who run. They have run, 2, 3, 4 marathons this year. And maybe you're hoping to run. You want to run. You're trying to, it's important for you to get, you want to achieve that. And you go and compare yourself. And all we talk about, don't we, are our successes. But it's always that big accomplishment. What did you, how did you do last month in your business? Yes, well, I exceeded my target, my sales target by 50%, by 100%. Nobody talks to you about the 2%. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about that big win. The trouble is that if we're all talking about the big win, when do we celebrate our small wins? When do we celebrate our ordinary win? That small win that is still so important because it shows that we did it. We managed to get there, because to get to that success, we need so many small steps. I shared a quote in one of my blog posts to say that Confucius said, 1,000-mile journey begins with one step. If I'm going to achieve 1,000 miles, I've got to start somewhere. I've got to start with that one little step. But if I don't make that small little step and celebrate that step, I'm never going to get there. Evelyn, you're so right. Every step of the process is a success. But here's the thing though, Evelyn. How often do you celebrate that little step? Most of us don't celebrate that little step. Most of us just go, oh, it's only a little step. I don't want to talk about that little step. I've got to wait till I hit that really high step and then talk about it, because nobody wants to hear about that. But the problem is that if we don't celebrate that little step, very soon we begin to feel it's no point. It's pointless going on. So take, for example, your week. Maybe you set a goal this week. Maybe you set a goal, Keiko, you want to read as much as you can. Maybe this week you've set your goal to read 5 chapters this week. Okay? Now, and you set yourself that goal. Wonderful. All right. Now, what are you, at the end of the week, it's always very good to reflect back, look back. What did you do? Did you manage to read all 5 chapters? No, maybe not. And you look back and go, why? Well, maybe there was work, you felt tired, maybe that week was difficult, you had a lot more work to do, maybe you didn't feel so well. There are all sorts of reasons, right? And here's the thing. Most of us will focus on all the negative feelings. Well, you know, because I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, so I wasn't able to complete my 5 chapters. Oh, for goodness sakes, this is pathetic, blah, blah, blah. Now, okay, we didn't quite do the 5 chapters. What did you do though? Maybe you were able to read half a chapter before you went to sleep. Maybe you were able to read 2 chapters this week. And it's still a good, and when you were reading those chapters, you felt good. You understood everything. Maybe you're reading a chapter in English. Maybe you're reading a chapter in another language you're learning. And that felt good. So take that. Yes, I still managed to do that. It felt good. How did it feel? Good. I felt good. Okay, what were you not able to do? I was not able to do what I wanted to do, but I still managed to do some of it. So celebrate what you did and then make a plan for the following week to say, okay, next week I'm going to try and complete the 5 chapters. And every week becomes those small little steps you make. And you know, and you say, tick, I did that. I had this, as I said to you, I had this client with me, and she spent 20 years in the banking industry. Her company, her bank closed her branch, and she was made redundant at the end of last year. She's my sort of age, which can be quite tough for people, but she's come to the point where she wants to change industry. So and she said to me, you know, I want to the next time I go for a job interview, I want to be able to say to people that I can speak English. And, you know, so we were developing a way that she could do things. We looked at each day that she's been working on her English. And after the first couple of days, you know, and she had this great big grand plan. I want to be able to improve my English. I want to do, and I thought, fantastic, wonderful. That is a lovely to have. It is very fantastical. I can't touch it. It's not tangible. I need something more tangible, right? Because I would like to improve my English doesn't mean anything. I would like to improve. I would like to be able to talk to you about my hobbies. I would like to talk to you about my career. I would like to talk to you about my favorite, the best book, my favorite book. That is much more specific. Then you can then say, now I'm going to devise a plan on how I'm going to do that. And then you develop it and you start working towards achieving that small little goal. And every time you do something, you take and go, fantastic. So we broke down that goal, and then you start, one day we said to her, how was today? Oh, great. I feel like today I was able to share with you my ideas. It wasn't perfect English, but she communicated. She was able to share with me, and she felt a sense of achievement at the end of that day. It's a tiny win. It's a small win. But wow, isn't that sense of achievement so powerful for you? Doesn't it make you think, if I can do this, I can do something else tomorrow? You feel motivated, you feel so enthusiastic, you feel on top of the world because I did that small little thing. It's a big thing for me. So let me share again. I use running a lot because I find that if you're someone who trains to want to be strong in your health and your personal training, in your fitness, it's a great analogy also learning languages and developing your business confidence in English, your communication in English. Because we need those moments to say, pat ourselves on the back, on the shoulder and say, well done. That was a good job. Maybe you only spent 30 minutes on it, but you concentrated, you worked on it, and tick box, you did it. Sense of achievement, I did it. I was here, I did it. So I remember I've run 10 kilometers before, but what used to happen was I would run, and the moment it got a bit hard, so I'm out of my breath and it's getting a bit too tough, I would start walking. And I always told myself, it's not important because I'm not running a marathon. I'm not setting this ridiculous goal. It's fine. It's good enough for me. And it was for a long, long time. So I'd walk, I'd run, and everyone would go, Shanti, well done. But I said, but I know that I was not pushing myself enough. But for me, it was happy. I was not ready to go anywhere else. But now, I remember talking to another client, and she's a runner, and she motivated me. There's something she said to me, and I thought to myself, Shanti, you're going to have to try to run the 10 kilometers, even if it's super slow. So I decided, okay, one day I was going to reduce my pace and try. And I managed it. Super slow, but I managed it. And I cannot begin to tell you the sense of euphoria, the sense of, yes, I did it. I mean, super slow. I mean, if you looked at my scores, you're thinking, okay, Shanti, what were you doing, walking or running? I was running. How was your breathing? Well, sometimes it was uncomfortable, but I had to change my mindset. As I'm running, I'm thinking, come on, Shanti, you can do this. Just slow right down. Doesn't matter, just slow down. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself. Come on, you do it. Now, that first time, I thought, okay, if I can do it first time, can I do it the second time? So you keep proving, and so I kept proving to myself. I kept setting a goal, a test against myself. Now, 1 month on, so I got to the end of this month, and I have succeeded in running 10 kilometers each time I've gone out to run, and run. Not actually, okay, it gets too hard, or I'm coming to a hill, I'm going to start walking. Now, probably, Rose is saying, sorry, I have to leave. You've motivated me to start running. Good, excellent. Keep running and don't stop. Thank you, Rosie, for joining. See you next week. So, and you just keep going. Okay, sometimes it was harder, other times it was less hard, but I kept doing it. And after 1 month, I'm feeling really motivated to keep going now because I think I can do this. There are going to be moments when I don't, but I can. I'm just stopping because I want to see some of your comments here. Evelyn, you're saying it's important to look at each step, think about how you did it, what went well, and what you need to improve. Absolutely, Evelyn, it's so important. This is exactly what I want to share, and I want to spend a bit of time with everyone to look at that is what we need to do, even with our improving our business English, improving the way we communicate in business with English. Some people say, oh, I need to have, better English. And I think, yes, but your first priority should be, I need to communicate in business. I happen to be using English as a way to communicate. So think of, yes, I need to improve this, and break down those goals into short, small goals that you can then celebrate every time you achieve those goals. So at the end of this month, we've come to the end of January, and I want you to reflect to see, and I want to ask you, what goals did you set for January? Did you set any goals? And how has the month been? Has it been, what went well? What worked for you? What didn't work so well? And do you know why? And how could you improve that for February? Now, this could be in every aspect of your life. It could be about Keiko wanting to read as much as possible. So Keiko, maybe you have decided on a number of books you want to read. And you maybe have set a plan. I'm going to read 3 books a month. So, okay, so you pick the first book and you look at that book and you see how many chapters or how many pages or whatever, and you think, okay, this week I'm going to read so many chapters per day. Look at your diary and block out the times where you can dedicate on this goal, on what you want to achieve. Look at your diary, look at your schedule, look at the moment where you think, okay, I have maybe 30 minutes here, I have got 45 minutes here, I'm able to do it here, I can do it here, and block it out. Because one of the things I've found recently, and I've been testing it myself, is now I've started with my schedule blocking out the times. And, so now for my runs, for example, I've got it in my diary. And unless there's a disaster, those are blocked out. And when it becomes visible, and you can actually see it, it becomes much more difficult to ignore it. So if your goal is important to you, you're more likely to stick with it if you can see it always in front of you. So for example, you want to work on your presentation skills. You have a presentation at the end of February or the middle of February, and you have to present in English. You know what the topic is. It's a topic that you're very familiar with. Now, look at your diary and look at how many weeks you have before this important presentation. What information do you have now? How are you going to prepare for this presentation? Then look at your schedule and look at how much time you have and put it into your diary. I will be sharing with you in the next few months time management tips. We're going to be looking at goal setting. We're going to be looking at motivation. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay focused? How do you stay accountable? And this is a thing about also goal setting, is how accountable are you? Now, as a business coach, coaching is all about, what I do a lot is I hold my clients accountable to the goals they have set. Together we set the goals they want to, they come to me and they say, I need to improve I want to become more confident when I make phone calls with my suppliers, with my customers. I feel very insecure. So we devise a plan. We look at a time frame. We break it down. We look at how we're going to do it. And every week I hold them accountable to whether they have achieved those goals. And that is what a mentor, that is what a coach, not just an English teacher does, because the English part is often the easiest bit. The hardest part is staying with it, staying focused, keep going, don't give up. And this is a problem when you have that long-term goal. I want to improve my English. Really? How are you going to do it? How are you going to break it down? You're soon going to give up. Why? Because you don't have a real specific plan, a concrete plan. You don't even know how you're going to do it. Once you start developing how you're going to do it, and then you say to yourself, okay, this is how I'm going to achieve it, you then need someone. It could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be anybody. You say to them, this is what I want to achieve. You need to hold me accountable to it. You want to lose weight, Cornelia. You set yourself that goal every year. We all do, right? The trouble is, I'm going to lose weight. How much weight? You need to be specific. You get onto that weighing scale, which is terrifying, I know. And then you think, right, I am going to lose 5 kilos. You want to lose it gradually. You don't want to lose it fast. I can go on a diet, lose it in 2 weeks, and within 3 weeks, you're back up. You want to do it in a healthy, sustainable way. So you devise a plan. This is what I'm going to do. But my plan is I'm going to lose I want to lose 1 kilo every 2 weeks, or 1 kilo every 3 weeks, or 1 kilo every 4 weeks, whatever it is. Set yourself that and sit down and think, this is what I'm going to do. And be really disciplined about it. And every week, every month, go back and go, so what were my goals? But during that time, celebrate those little successes. Today, I resisted. I did not eat chocolate. Fantastic! Yes! Yesterday was a bad day. Any of you ever watched Bridget Jones's Diary or read Bridget Jones's Diary? You remember when she's thinking about the units, you're trying to stay focused. Okay, she was all over the place. But if you have that, you think, yeah, I've got this. And it becomes a reality for you. I mean, that's how I found with my running. It becomes a reality for me because I've put it pen on paper. It's there for me to see. And if I don't do it, I'm like, that was so annoying. So there are so many things we do that we can achieve, and it's so important to stay focused. But the only way we're going to do that is if we break it down and we celebrate our little wins. Forget that big picture. That big picture is always there. But the big picture has to be broken down into little tiny frames. Yeah, if you imagine a film, it's always broken down into little frames. And that's what we want to do. I don't know whether this makes sense. It's also important to be kind with oneself. Exactly, Evelyn. There are going to be good days and bad days, right? That's why you are celebrating the small wins, not the big wins. If we set ourselves to only have big wins, that it becomes really tough. Hey, I'm the first. If you ask my family, I'm always doing that. I didn't do this. Oh my God, I'm a failure. How many of us do that, right? And I'm building up my online business. There's so much I'm learning, and it's so easy for me to see everybody else and thinking, wow, they're so wonderful. Look at what they've achieved, and look at me. This is horrendous. This is terrible. Oh, I'm just such a failure. And it is really easy. And there are going to be days when we're going to do that. And then sometimes you just got to say, stop that, because that is not going to help you achieve your goal. So it is so important to be kind to ourselves. And the only way that we can be kind to ourselves, I've tested it myself, is to say, okay, so today, at the end of the day, today has been a good day. Why has it been a good day? Well, today I managed to do this. And I didn't do everything I wanted, but I did this. And it's still better than nothing. Evelyn, sometimes you take 2 steps forward and then 1 backwards. But that's part of the process. Yeah, exactly. And it's so hard, sometimes it's like, and you need to sort of keep telling yourself that. Sometimes you've thought, right, okay, well, I didn't quite do everything I wanted to do, but what did you do? Well, that's good. And I am the first, right? Every day I have this whole list. We all have a to-do list, right? I'm going to do this, 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 this. And half of it gets done. Okay, in my next lessons, and I will be sharing with you how we can reduce those moments when we're procrastinating. So we're going to I'll be looking at time management tips, how we can become much more productive with ourselves, with our lives, and with how we approach our work. And you know, it is so, yeah, and so we create this to-do list, and then maybe half of it gets done. And then we still think, oh, this is terrible. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Look at this. I mean, pathetic. You know, so-and-so managed to do so much. I've only done half. But then another day could be like super productive. And you think, wow, that really worked. So a great time is to also reflect then, why was I so much more productive that day than the day before? And maybe you can sort of see, well, yeah, that day, what did I do? What happened that day that was so much better than the day before? Maybe you can learn from it, or maybe it's just one of those days. And maybe, as you say, Evelyn, you just say, right, what is done. Tomorrow is another day, and what comes tomorrow, we will see what happens. And so it's so important, again, yeah, to celebrate that small, ordinary win. Because we all live ordinary lives. But ordinary does not mean insignificant, unimportant. Ordinary means that we are part of the human race. Ordinary means we will get there at our pace, but we will eventually get what we want, but in little steps. You know the story of the tortoise and the hare doing that race. The hare that runs fast, the tortoise is super slow, but in the end the tortoise won the race. Persistence, small steps, persistent. But on the way, we need to, as I say, celebrate those little small steps. Because what can happen is, of course, we take those small steps and eventually we get bored with them. I think nothing is happening. So the 2 steps forward, as you say, Evelyn, and 1 step back, that is life, right? We're going to have this going forward, backwards, forwards, backwards, and it takes a lot of strength to keep going. And so that's why you have to keep focused, but the focus has to be on the short things we do. So for this week, I want to read 3 chapters. I want to work 30 minutes 3 times this week on my English, on my business English. I'm going to read 3 news articles. I'm going to watch 2 episodes of my favorite program in English. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going, set yourself those really specific things. And at the end of the week, look back and go, so what did I achieve? Tick box, yay, I did that. Fantastic. Next week? Okay, no, so next week I'm going to do this. But here's the thing. We all set these goals, and you're probably saying, Shanti, I've done this so many times. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. What I'd like you to think about is when you're setting yourself these little small wins, these small goals, imagine how you would feel having achieved those small little wins. So what I want you to do is to plan how you're going to feel. What is going to make your week feel fantastic at the end of the week? How are you going to feel? What's going to make me feel really good at the end of this week, by the end of this week? And it could be anything. Having gone for a walk with my dog. Having seen my mother. Having spoken to 2 clients in English, having written 3 emails in English and only taken 20 minutes for each email. What's going to make me feel really good? Planning your feeling is so much more powerful than just creating a to-do list. You decide how you're going to feel at the end of the week. If you can decide how you're going to feel, You are in control of how to make that happen. Trust me, I've tried it. So, just like Rosie said to me, so what, you achieved this 1,400 kilometers. So what? How are you going to reward yourself? Well, I'm not doing that 14. Yes, I've said that, but I forget that. I'm thinking about every week I look and think, I ran 3 times this week. And I know that by the end of that week, if I set myself that goal, I know how I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel good about myself. I'm going to feel healthier. My legs are getting stronger. My cardiovascular is stronger. Maybe I set myself a goal to read 10 chapters of my book. And I know that if I read 10 chapters, I'm going to feel so good. So I plan on how I want to feel by the end of the week. And then, end of the week comes, I look back, I reflect, and go, what made my week feel good? So you start celebrating all the things that worked for you. Good. What wasn't so good? Okay. Why? What happened? Now, plan for the following week. And we keep doing that. And it doesn't have to be a grand plan, but each week and that's what we do. But I don't want you to see it as another to-do list. If you add, I need to improve my English, and it's just another item on your to-do list, it becomes more work. Instead, if you can see it as how you're going to feel having achieved that, it is a completely different mindset. I hope I've given you some food for thought, everyone. I'm so glad, not all of you have sort of interacted with, but I really appreciated Evelyn's thoughts, Gabi, Rosie, and Keiko also happens to me. Evelyn, you says that happens to me. What exactly happens to you, Evelyn? Please share. Because, and I want you to reflect for this month. What went well in January? I'd love you to share that with me. So ask yourself, what small goals did you set yourself in January? And what were your small wins? What were they small wins? Yeah, I managed to, I managed to write in my journal. I managed to watch 3 movies in English. Whatever it is you set yourself up to do. What did you learn along the way? Did you learn new things? What did you learn? Maybe your focus was to learn something. What did you learn about yourself? For me, after 1 month of consistently running, I learned that I can do this. That it's not impossible, which is what I used to think. Oh, it's impossible, I'm too old. I should have started running years ago. And this is what all my clients tell me. I'm too old, Shanti, to improve my English. I'm never going to do it. We can come up with lots of excuses. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sure, great. No. Oh, I don't have time. It's going to be impossible. I'm just too busy. Yeah, of course you are. Because you're the only person who's busy. You're the only person who's this age. You're the only person in this world that can't possibly do. You're just giving yourself all the excuses why you can't. Why? Because you're afraid of failing. We all are. What if I don't do it? What's the worst that can happen? You pick yourself up and you keep going. But the problem is if you set yourself up there, then you are going to fail. But if you set, there's nice to achieve, set yourself here, even to say, I'm gradually getting there. Fantastic. Amit, impossible even says, I'm possible. Fantastic. Exactly. It's not impossible. Everything is possible. Okay. I could learn the piano, to play the piano. I know it's going to take like years. I'm not going to be able, it's probably going to be impossible for me to play the piano like a professional pianist. But then that goal is unrealistic, isn't it? So you want to set yourself the realistic goal and then set about planning how you're going to do it. Read, find out, read what other people have achieved, how they've achieved it. The problem with social media, the problem with media in general is they just talk about everybody's big successes. They don't talk about the small successes and the failures that have gone along. Evelyn, that's my saying. There is no worse management than the one that is not done. Yeah, exactly. So I'm leaving you with these thoughts, and I'd love you to sit down, take a few hours, take a few minutes, even at this weekend, to reflect on your January. How was January for you? What did you set out to do? Did you achieve what you set out to do, your goals? What were your small wins? And what is planned for February? And more importantly, how are you going to achieve what you planned for February? Break it down and share it with us. By the way, I just wanted to ask you all, and this will be recorded, so I'll be sharing this with the EWAT community, is I'm thinking instead of having the Facebook page, I'm thinking of setting up a Facebook group, which will be for my hardcore EWAT community. For those of you who are like really serious in developing yourself professionally, developing yourself personally, and it is with English, right? We're developing yourself so that you become effective, successful business communicators in English. And don't forget, when I say successful, I don't mean that you are perfect speakers of English. There is no such thing as a perfect speaker of English. I make lots of mistakes, and many people make lots of mistakes. But it's that confidence, it's that ability to keep going and to feel equal, that you have a very confident, effective way of communicating with your counterparts, with your customers, with your clients, whoever you want to communicate with in English. And I am planning, this is one of my ideas, plans for February and March, is to create a separate Facebook group, and which will be a closed group, and I'll be inviting you to join me. And from there, we will develop a strong community of people to where we can develop these ideas of staying focused, staying motivated, setting your goals, and being accountable to get to those goals, being accountable to each other, to yourself. And I'd love to know whether you think it would be a good idea, because then I will know that there is enough demand for that. So that's what I plan to do. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Great, Amit. I would love. Oh, that's great. So I'm going to start planning for this Facebook group, because I firmly believe that is the way to have a more focused group. And also through the Facebook group, if you're a member of that, you begin to see much more of the content I can share with yourselves, and have a much more of a focus where we're looking at the coaching areas. Keiko, you're saying heartfelt thanks to you for guiding me on how to set a concrete plan. Keiko, I wish you luck. I'd love to know how many books you set yourself and what your February plan is going to be, how many books you plan to read in the month. My God, I read, some people have read already 3 books this month. I'm reading A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth, which is a very big book. And I set myself that goal, and I started in December. Unfortunately, I didn't set myself the number of chapters, but I'm almost coming to the end. For me, that will be this massive, I know it's a small win, but it will be a big win for me, actually, because I'll think, yes, I managed to do that. I managed to finish that book. And I'm also going to be planning on my reading material for the coming year. So I'd love to share that. And what I might be doing, as I say, will be through this Facebook group. So keep your eyes peeled, ears peeled. I will be sharing all that information with you. In the meantime, thank you so much to everyone. I look forward to seeing you next week, 7th of February, for lesson 52 of Wednesdays with EWAT, where we will be discussing maybe more on time management skills, time management tips I can share with you. But please stay focused, stay motivated, keep going, set yourself those small goals and celebrate your small wins, because that's what matters much more than those big wins. Take care, everyone. You're great. Thank you for following me. Ciao.